We're back. Three guys, one music. I'm Jamey. I'm here with Mike and Grant. It was a little over the top, but that's what kind of do.
Hello.
What's happening, everybody?
How are you, Jamey?
Oh, I'm okay, I guess. It's Wednesday here. You know,
probably Wednesday here too.
Probably Wednesday where you are. So, yeah.
It's been a Wednesday. I'm ready for Thursday. I'm ready for Thursday.
Everybody. Yeah. I think I'm about to be in the car all day tomorrow. Got to make a road trip. Yeah. So this week we're going to talk about our favorite songwriters, and this was a very difficult exercise for me personally. I just want to say off the top, I'm a pop guy. I love a lot of styles of music, but we'll get into what our choices are here in a little bit. But I think that we all maybe are going to be slightly different in what we how we approach this, which is interesting. I think it's good. It'll be an insight to how we think about songwriting and
you're looking at my list.
But first, we will get into what we've been listening to, as we normally do, and I'll get into that. I'll go ahead and go first. I've been listening to Miles Davis from 1960, Sketches of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Love this recording. Gil Evans, I think, was a part of this. It was, I just love everything about it. I love the compositions, but I just love his performance and how delicate the pieces are, how he approaches it. And it's done with such mastery and respect for the pieces.
Right.
Really, really dig it. And I've been listening to Living Color's 1988 debut, Vivid. I listened to that record. I would say that's probably my favorite record from that year. I listened to it constantly back then.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I have my issues with Will Calhoun's drum sound on the following.
Yeah, the 90s crept in.
Yeah, but this one I think is quite good. I love everything about it. I think Ed Stasium from the Ramones fame, I think he produced this record. And I've been listening to Black Flag's 1981 release, Damaged, with Henry Rollins on vocals. Very raw recording. Pretty rough, but boy, it's got a lot of energy.
It has to.
Yeah. I really have never listened to a lot of Black Flag. Pardon me. I never really appreciated it. I just always thought it was not my thing, but I've really been enjoying it lately. So I've been listening to also the Misfits 1978 release. I don't even think it was released in 78, but it was recorded in 78, Static Age. I think that record is almost like a greatest hits. Every track on it I think is fantastic. If you like the Misfits or if you like that sort of thing, but I really enjoy it. Been listening to that quite a bit lately, and that's about it. How about you guys?
That's cool.
Michael, what you listen to?
Guys, living the rock and roll lifestyle has taken a toll on me. And if I'm squirming around here on the couch, just to let you know,
Michael threw his back out.
I hurt my back putting my pants on Sunday because I'm a rock and roller. That's both, one leg at a time, nothing unusual. But it did not work out for me. So if you see me moving around a lot tonight, that's what's going on. Have not. I mean, when we chose our topics, we, it really was a day ago, right? We didn't have a lot of time on this one, but I've been listening to a lot of different, what I consider songwriters, my favorite songwriters. But before that, I spent the weekend with Gossip, which I've mentioned before, and just an outstanding band. They get all kinds of names, genres thrown at them, kind of disco, kind of club music, but a dance music with a real band behind it with real energy. It just it's so great, and that energy comes through. It's not quantized, it's not auto-tuned, it's not perfected. It's just raw emotion, and Beth Ditto, the singer, has such passion and dynamics in her voice. Right. I just love to listen to it. I listened to it. I was listening to it when I saw you at the restaurant. And turn it down. Oh, there's Grant. Better turn the music down. But yeah, Gossip is an outstanding band. I love them. Everything they do. It's a lot of fun.
That's really how you hurt your back. You were not disco dancing.
I'm trying to dance to Gossip. So
please send me a link. I'm not familiar with them.
Okay. Yeah.
Are they a new band, or they've been around for quite a while?
They've been around for a while. I think, gosh, I want to say 2008. That's quite they broke up so Beth Ditto could do her own thing, and then they kind of accidentally got back together when she invited her old bandmates to help her on her solo recording.
Accidentally.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's not just dance music. It's kind of post-punk, maybe. I don't want to put a name on it because it's just great fun music. It's a lot of energy and
cool
stuff. Good to listen. Fun to
Sounds
listen.
Interesting. Yeah.
Your back out too.
Fun to throw your back out too. Not afterward, but during. I recommend it.
I've been listening to going back quite a few years. The first, not the first Ride album, because the first Ride album is really not that good. But that's okay, because a lot of bands back then had a not so great first album, and but the second, third, and fourth albums really good. Just for some reason, I said, I want to hear this. And then, you finish one, you're like, I'm going to continue on and continue on. That's nostalgic for me.
Now, is this a British band?
Yes.
Is Andy Bell, was he a member of that?
Yes. Still is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's vaguely familiar, but I'm not familiar with any of their songs.
Yeah. They got some really good songs.
Okay.
Going Blank Again from 1992 is one of the stellar, like you can drop the needle and you can listen to it all the way through. I mean, it's just a solid album. And they're not necessarily a shoegaze band. A lot of people have classified them as such, but you can hear that in the music. Some of that, like if you ever listened to Swerve Driver, stuff like that.
He joined Oasis later, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what's his name? I forgot the bass player. He played bass in Oasis.
Right.
But yeah, and then Ride was on hiatus for a long time, and then they got back together, and they've had 4 albums in the modern times, I believe. Weather Diaries is fantastic, and This Is Not a Safe Place is a great album.
Send me a link, man. I'd like to check it out. Yeah, I love British pop.
Yeah, it's
I was going to say pop rock from that era, but it's British, whatever you want to call it, Brit pop. But
and then,
I love that.
My buddy, I got a buddy lives in the Pacific Northwest, and they went to it was a 3-band bill, Simple Minds. Was it the English Beat? I can't remember. Anyway, he shared a link of Simple Minds, and it got me thinking. And I put on the Live in the City of Light, the Simple Minds album from I think the early 90s. Or maybe mid, I don't know. But anyway, that's an album that also got flack because they had to fix some things, like we talked about last week with It's Alive, and it's the same thing. Do you want it to sound like it's supposed to, or do you want to hear the mistakes?
Right.
I mean, I want the experience of hearing it, how it's supposed to sound. But that's basically what I've been listening to. So a lot of I guess English bands.
That's cool. Yeah, it's I think it's always fun to revisit things myself, but I rely on you two to keep me up to date as best I am able to do that. All right, we will get into our topic here. And again, to reiterate, this was very difficult for me.
It was difficult for me. I had decisions to make.
Yeah, I talked a little bit. I tried to explain my point of view a few minutes ago. I don't think I did, but essentially, we talked about this. I think a lot of people might think that, well, a songwriter is somebody who's going to do everything. But a songwriter a great song might be written by 2 people, might be written by 3 people. Now, in a lot of cases in the top 40 these days, could be written by 20 people.
It's 19 people.
Yeah, but we will not be mentioning those, I don't think. But
Michael, no Beyonce.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
She did not make the list.
Okay.
I'm not even being a critic for that process. I think the end result, if it's a great song, it's a great song. I have no problem.
Yeah, there's no
really
criticism.
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me. The end result is the end result, and that's the only thing that matters. But these people, we approach this probably slightly differently. I know that Mike and I did, and that's that we discussed it a little bit, but we really don't know where we're all going. I don't think.
I'm always taking left turns. So
yeah, well, I think it's interesting for us to see, we all listen to things differently, and we all have different tastes, and we might have a different point of view about this, but yeah. So anyway, hopefully
in the limited space of time,
Right.
you always want to call out the big ones, the one sometimes are obvious. I mean, I think we don't want to necessarily call them out unless they're actually on our favorites list. So we probably didn't call out as many obvious ones.
Oh yeah, we could talk.
The viewers might think,
yeah,
because there are some, these are all obviously personal lists.
These are very personal, and for me, I can't say that I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to say some obvious names, but these are ones that truly mean the most to me. They're my favorite. I'm not saying that these are the best. We're not saying that these are the best songwriters ever. That's impossible.
Best is subjective too. I mean,
I mean, who's to say? But that's really difficult. That'd be impossible. But it's my favorite. It's it's the ones that mean the most to me. And I had to exclude several. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about those that mean a great deal to me.
Oh yeah, we could have each probably had 30 choices. I mean,
my taste is all over the place. I think that Mike and I discussed a little bit before we started recording. If your taste was pretty pointed and narrow, not that there's anything wrong with that, you probably would have an easier time with this. But when you like everything from ABBA to Frank Zappa, and they mean something to you, you don't just kind of like it, you really like it. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So anyway, having said all that, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I don't care.
Okay.
Jump
in the deep end.
I definitely approached it. I was thinking about the big names. Obviously, we all have big names that everyone knows that we have, that their songs, some of their songs mean deeply a lot to us, obviously. And I said, I'm going to go in a different direction. These songwriters, their songs mean as much to me as songs. I have a couple of new artists here as well that I've recently listened to in the last couple of months. I'm not going to say the name yet. I'm just saying that it's funny how even a new artist, if something speaks to you, it can be just as important to you as a song you've known your whole life.
Yeah.
Or as music you've heard.
Well, I would say that the people that I just want to say, just in defense of that statement, or this is my opinion. The people that I have on here have a body of work that has been super consistent. So that was my only criteria. It was not only that it meant a lot to me or means a lot to me, but they have a considerable amount of songs that
they've proven themselves. Yeah.
They might, if you had an artist, I could name a lot of artists that had 3 to 5 songs that I think are fantastic, but these people all have 15, 20 songs that mean a great deal to me. So that's my criteria. So
yeah, I get it.
All right.
I'm going to go first with not a band I've talked about before, but he's a member of the band, the singer of the band, the main writer, Steve Kilbey of The Church.
Yeah.
His music has always meant a lot to me, especially lyrically, because he's just such a fantastic putter together of words. And as clumsy as that sounds, that's what it is. You're putting together words, and he has, I don't even know how many solo albums and EPs he has. He's got a bunch more. There are probably more Steve Kilbey solo work than there is Church, because he's so he's so prolific. And I don't even own everything. He's not physically. I don't ever own everything. Some stuff was only released in Australia. And some stuff is now, I was looking for something that's not available on streaming, because I was trying to check a song and I was like, let me look this up. And I was like, I had to dig out the CD. and his stuff, solo stuff, does not sound at all like the church. So it's definitely a marked difference. You know, it's not like the church light or the church extra heavy or whatever, you know, which is really cool. But for two songs I have, for example, are there's a song "Something That Means Something," which is from the 80s. Both these are actually. And the only thing, if you find these songs, anyone finds these songs, the only thing lacking is, of course, 80s production sometimes, and things don't get remastered, especially with smaller artists and people that, you know, the record company's like, well, we're not going to put the money in because, you know, nobody's going to buy 1 million copies of this. So, anytime you listen to something really old that's not been remastered, there's a caveat there. You've got to just take it for what it is, you know, and not that it sounds bad. It's just, it's got that sound, you know. It's more indie too. It's not like super produced. But yeah, Something That Means Something is a fantastic song. It just pulls you in and stays with you. If you listen to the lyrics and feel it, how it's written, it's got a depth to it, and it's still relevant. Even
it means something to you.
Exactly. There you go. I knew you were getting ready to say something. I said he's got that little smirk.
Something that means something really means something to me.
That's right. Yeah. And there's another one. I've always been fascinated by songwriters who can write brilliant songs that are short, because I've always had a hard time. I'm like, you know, writing something and I think, oh, this is good. And then you keep, you know, the story takes its place, or you tell what it is, and then you record it on your little boombox, or now you record on your computer, and you play it back and you look and it's like 9.5 minutes. How's that 9.5 minutes? You know, it doesn't seem like it when you're writing it or when you're performing it, playing it. But this is a song called Starling Street, and it might be 2 minutes long at the most. It's just a beautiful little piano riff and a melody and some background swells. I don't know if they're another like a mellotron or something with a different setting or whatever, but it's just such a full song to be such a short little song. But it's just a beautiful piece of music, and again, from the 80s, that stayed with me my whole life, you know. Just an amazing song, an amazing songwriter, and it's got that consistency, you know, over all the time. I mean, not every song from every songwriter is a gem, or might not be that you want to hear it, but you know, he has that back catalog of music, you know, especially solo. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's more solo albums than there are church albums, but which makes sense because, you know, you sit in your bedroom and write 1 million songs, but when you get together with the guys in your band, you know, it's hard to sometimes to put things together and agree on stuff and be like, I like this, I like that. No, let's fight about it. No, let's do this.
Editing. I think editing is one of the most critical part of being a songwriter, and that's one of the things that I'm probably best at. I'm a good collaborator. Trying to come up with a complete tune from top to bottom, not my strength, and I'm not really a lyric guy. Oddly enough, as we've discussed, that that's just not where my brain is. I totally wish it was, but it's just not. So, but I do I'm good at editing, and you have to be good at arranging and editing. I think so. Critical part. Okay. Cool choice, man. All right. How about you, Mike?
I will. Well, let me see if I can tell the story and make it short. When I was a very young lad, way back when, this is probably the first person I really recognized as a songwriter. As a kid, you know, I just thought, you know, there's this big island of musicians out there and they all write songs.
The island of misfit musicians.
And they just put it together. But there was something special about this song. I heard it on a K-Tel album back in the day. You had K-Tel's collection of hits, the greatest hits of the year. And After the Gold Rush was on there.
Oh, wow.
By Neil Young. And that song just bowled me over when I was, gosh, what was I, 6 years old?
That was
7 years old.
That's an odd choice to be on a K-Tel.
But that song,
it was a deep cut K-Tel.
It was just amazing. Something about it. There's everything that Neil Young does is so to the point.
It's gold.
It's emotional. It's from the heart. There's something very powerful in everything he does. There's not these grand ideas,
Right.
but even after the gold rush, he said for years he didn't really know what it was about. But that song stuck with me, and I just love Neil Young as a songwriter. We could go around the circle here and name so many songs. Needle and the Damage Done. Only Love Can Break Your Heart, a beautiful song.
Killer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even Neil Young had a period where he wanted to stretch out, try different things. In the early 80s, he made Reactor, which made everybody what the hell is that?
That's his electrified Dylan moment.
And then what was that album called? I've got Trans, his electronic album.
Yeah.
Which was so different from the same year he put out his doo-wop album, his Everybody's Rockin', which is I love all three of those albums.
Yeah.
But his early stuff, Cinnamon Girl, all that stuff.
Oh, it's great. I'm a huge Neil Young fan.
Now you're making me want to listen to Neil Young. So
yeah, I listen to Neil Young probably more than you two guys. I mean, I listen to him regularly, and I am a huge fan. I considered him for my list. He's not on it.
Yeah, I did.
He had to say he's prolific is an understatement. He still comes out with a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. I'm a huge fan. I love what he did with Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. I really admire him. Great artist. I love that choice. Okay, boy, I'm going to go in a different direction, and this is tough for me. I had to think about these artists that really. Now, again, what do we classify as a songwriter? Are we only thinking in terms of 20th century? Interesting.
However you want to
focus it. Most of mine are. This one is not. It's Johann Sebastian
Bach. Yeah.
All I needed to say is air on the G string. The guy was probably the most sophisticated composer that we've ever known. Likely. He was a genius. His work is as well respected as it ever has been. He's one of the giants of composition. I just can't imagine what our world would be like without having those melodies and incredible compositions. I mean, Toccata Fugue in D minor, Brandenburg concertos. I mean, it's just endless. Well-tempered clavier. Just a genius, and I really didn't want to include him. I wanted to include more contemporary artists, but I just couldn't not include him. He's incredibly important to me, although people might not think that. It's just immense what he did.
Oh yeah,
400 years ago, or whatever.
Bach in the day.
Yeah, that's incredible. So that's my first choice. I'm just going to
leave
it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, good choice.
Fantastic choice. I mean, classical music has influenced probably everybody, everybody on all our lists. They've probably
even if
been an influence.
It's just such a part of our fabric.
Yeah. But Bach set the bar, set the standards.
Yeah.
For some musical composition. So
yeah, that's even more remarkable. Yeah. So that's my first choice.
Great choice.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. My turn again. I'm going to go with the guy from Texas.
I know that guy.
You know that guy?
It's the guy I think of.
He's got his initials are the same letter for first and last name.
No.
With big hair.
Oh,
he used to have big hair.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Who'd you think I was going to say?
No, I mean, I just thought him. Okay. I mean, I think he's great. Okay.
I love it. It's who I'm referring.
Right.
Yes, he's got such a catalog of songs. And the first when his first album came out, I think it was 86 or 7. I could be wrong. Or maybe I'm thinking of his second album when I first discovered him. But the album is Pontiac. and I think that's his second album. Now that I'm thinking about it, sorry everybody. But yes, there's the actual song called Pontiac is another short song, but it is so menacing. It captures such a human spirit in the music, and it for years and years and years it flummoxed me on how someone could do that. Again, capture such a feeling, such a multi-tiered, on different levels in the lyrics, and just such a short, and it's like, you could write a 20-minute song, and plenty of people have written 20-minute songs that say absolutely nothing,
right?
And then to condense a feeling of immensity in such a small song is just mind-boggling to me. But that's Pontiac. The song from the album is such a great song, and it's not even technically, it's not like a standard type song,
Right.
It's like you said, with the arrangement, it's arranged so perfectly,
right.
And then another song from that album called Simple Song. It's basically just acoustic guitar, vocal, and violin, I believe. There might be some piano, but it just tells such a human story. And the music goes perfectly with it. And it's one of those songs that if you hear it and you get it, it stays with you. That's one of those songs that just randomly pops in your head. If you see something out in the world and you're like, wow, it just sums that up perfectly. But, and he's got jazzy songs. He's got funny songs. He's got,
right.
More country-ish type songs. Cause when he came out, he was more of a country guy, and he came into that more singer-songwriter type thing where he had more serious subjects and more, like I said, taking influences from different places. But and he's got I've only seen him one time, but it was such a great show, and he pulled from every part of his, it was such a varied, it wasn't like I'm just going to sit and play guitar, which would have been fine. I would love to see Neil Young just sit on the stage and play guitar and sing. I wouldn't even need a band, but that's the same with Lyle Lovett. If he chose to do that, it would be amazing,
Yeah. I think Lyle Lovett is one of those artists that I never could fully appreciate because I'm not a lyric person. There's people with the initials JP that's no longer living that you guys are not going to mention, but I won't say his name. He's one of those guys. I fully appreciate what they do and what they did, but it's just not my thing. It's just melodically, there's not something there that affects me.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm not focused on a story, it's just never going to reach me like it might,
I mean,
somebody who really appreciates a song or a story. It's just
with a singer-songwriter, it's the lyrics are
Yeah.
almost more important than the chords, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have to have a certain amount of harmonic complexity and music, a melodic component. If it's not there, you're not going to reach me no matter what. And there are songwriters similar to him that I think are more melodic to my ear and more harmonically interesting. Not that he's not good. He's certainly a talented guy. And but it's just not, it doesn't reach my ear like it might somebody else. But he's a great artist. And I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
And he's a great entertainer too, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely puts on a
Really
fantastic show.
He's really good with audiences. Cool. Yeah. How about you, Mike?
All righty then. Do you guys ever get tired of hearing me talk about this man?
No.
From the word go, his first release, These Arms of Mine, Otis Redding just wrote so many incredible songs.
Yeah.
So many. He recorded other people's songs and with great success, but really his songwriting just stood out. It's amazing. He came up, I had to write them down. There's so many. I wanted to choose a few, but These Arms of Mine, his first one, Security, Chained and Bound, Mr. Pitiful, which he wrote with Steve Cropper, Old Man Trouble, I've Been Loving You Too Long, Good to Me, Lover's Prayer, obviously Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and Respect. I mean, I could go on, which I will if you let me. But Otis Redding, the greatest soul singer ever, and certainly an amazing songwriter. I wish he could have been around a little longer, showing us what he had in store, because Sitting on the Dock of the Bay is so much different from the rest of his catalog.
Yeah.
And I think he was at the end maybe stretching out a bit.
Yeah.
But what he left us was just an amazing
body of work.
Of work. Just a great soul singer and a great writer.
I could not agree more. I am a huge fan. I think he did. I think he probably has my favorite voice for that style. It's just it's just fantastic. I know there are so many great guys. Wilson Pickett, you know, I mean, tons of great guys, but I think Otis was the guy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
After Sam Cooke, I mean, I love
Sam Cooke too, was more of a crooner to me.
He was, yeah.
And I love Sam Cooke, but I don't think of Otis Redding the same way. He had more body.
Yeah, Sam Cooke was a great singer, but Otis he had, for lack of a better term, he had soul. He had so much passion in his voice, and he barely contained it. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Not only his songwriting, but his delivery. And that's what that's what melts my heart.
Yeah. Same here, man. Cool. I love it. Yeah, I am a huge fan of his. Okay. Boy, this is gonna be maybe a lengthier episode than I thought it might be. Again, very difficult. Very difficult. No, I don't want to do that. I just want us to jive. Mike, I promise you, I'm not mentioning this because we talked about it earlier, but Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Such an important. Now, for me, of course, it's all Burt Bacharach, but Hal David was a lyricist, and I can't exclude him. He's big. But for me, it is about the music, and Burt Bacharach was one of the most sophisticated pop writers of all time.
Absolutely.
And appreciated by so many great musicians, and deservedly so. But people can say whatever they want. The guy was incredible, or is incredible. Just unbelievable amount of great songs, and so consistent. I am an enormous fan. I love how he composes, and I love how he thinks, because it's just different. It's not obvious. It's not obvious at all.
Yeah, not at all.
So many left turns, and just really harmonically interesting.
But they work, you know. They every time they work, you know.
I don't want to go into too much of the catalog, you know, but you know, Close to You by the Carpenters. Walk On By, a ton of songs sung by Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
So many great songs, but just look him up. I mean, if you don't know Burt Bacharach, look up Burt Bacharach. You don't need me to tell you about all this catalog. It's just all amazing. So that's my second choice.
Yeah.
Great choice. Great choice.
Yeah.
All righty. I'm going to go with one of the newer artists I've discovered recently. And I've not listened. I'm not trying to digest. I think each of them have 3 or 4 albums. I've heard a little bit. I've sampled a little bit from each album just to see. Like I said, it's important to me as well with someone not being a one album wonder, or a one, you know, anybody can, you know, throw a typewriter at a notebook and write one good song, you know. But the first guy I'm going to mention is Steven Wilson Jr. And I don't know very much about him personally, but I believe I was driving home from an earlier episode of this, and our local NPR station has a program where they do a broadcast live from a certain music house. I forget the name of it. And someone was playing, and I was like, what is this? I said, is this Bruce Springsteen? I said, no, that's not. He's got a tiny bit of Bruce in his voice, but not very much. And I listened, and then I said, well, who is this? And of course, you know, I have an older vehicle, and my machine just tells me the name. It doesn't tell me anything else. And so I had to use old Google, and went down the rabbit hole after that, and then got his latest CD. And it's just some amazing modern songwriting. Now, a lot of it's got a country tinge to it, but the other half has more the songwriter, where a songwriter, I think, can basically do whatever they want. They can, if they want to write a disco song, and if it works, they'll write a disco song. They're not necessarily pigeonholed in a certain genre or whatever. But and very cool arrangements and very cool. It got an electrified acoustic guitar, which always perks my ears up because you don't hear that a lot. I mean, with like not just plugged in, but with like pedals or rack mounted effects or whatever. And it's got some really haunting sounds out of his guitar. But two of the songs that really stick out are "Grief Is Only Love," and the lyrics to that song will make you shed a tear. If you're into crying over songs, have at it. But it's a fantastic song. And another one that stood out for me on this album is called "Werewolf," and another just these songs are going to stay with me. Like I said, it's just a new artist I've only been into for several months, but those songs are just as good as any of the other songs we've all just mentioned. And that's comforting to me that there are new artists, great artists, even though the world might not know about them yet or maybe ever. But great music is still being written. I hate that when people say there's nothing good out there anymore. Like, you're just not looking for it in the right places. You gotta search out. It's not going to be on the radio. It's not going to be on the TV.
I have felt like this for the last year or two, maybe more. I really think that we're entering the next era of that period of time in the last 20 years where it was only the video kids that really didn't care about music. I think that has passed. I think you have a whole new generation of people who really are going to be the next great artists. And I really think, I feel that. I could be wrong, but I really feel like we're entering a new time where music is going to take on another level of importance that it hasn't for quite a while. And I feel very good about it, actually. I feel like it might take another 5 to 10 years, but I don't even think it'll take 10 years.
Yeah.
I really feel like we're entering a very healthy time. And there's a lot of great artists out there, like you said. People aren't making the money like they used to.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that the fact that they haven't for quite some time, I don't think that's a deterrent. Because if you love music and you're driven to be creative,
you're going to do it.
You're
anyway.
going to do it.
Yep.
So I think that's my 2 cents. So, but
nice.
Well, I too am going to choose someone newer on the scene, and you guys might disagree with me, but this just astonished me when I heard this album. Jamey, you brought this to our attention. You sent me this guy, and I was my flabber was gasted by this guy when I heard
I can't wait.
Cameron Winter's Heavy Metal. That whole album just had me slack-jawed. It was so unusual, so primitive and passionate. There's everything he said seemed so honest, like it was just off the cuff. And the songs are so different. It's so you might call it avant-garde. It's not quite that, but it is an extraordinary listen. It is not something that you're going to play in the background. Cameron White's Heavy Metal is the name of the album. You sit down, you listen to it, you digest it, and it's just amazing. Songs like Drinking Age, The Rolling Stones, $0. I love $0. You're trying to make me a $0 man. I don't know if it comes across to me as witty, but I don't know if he was going for that. But it's just so real and refreshing, and I can't wait to hear his next album. It's not for everyone. It's not for anyone on the first listen. You've really got to dive into this. You've really got to pay attention. But
if you don't have an open ear and an open mind, you will disregard it immediately.
It's a very peculiar vocal style, but it really is one of those things. I played it for several people.
I think it's amazing.
It immediately, the first time I heard it, I was laughing. And then I listened to it. I thought about it and listened to it a second time. I thought, there's something here.
Yeah.
Really got my attention. And to me, that's a great sign.
It really is something
just
special.
different enough. It's probably like what happened with Metallica the first time you heard, the first 2 records. It's so different. You're like, whoa. And it's just that it stays with you. And you're like, okay, I need to take some time to digest this, but there's something here. He's the real deal.
Yeah. Now, boys and girls, this is not a heavy metal album. That's
No,
just the name of the record.
Right.
It is nothing like heavy metal in any way. It's really refreshing. It's really eye-opening. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Nausicaa. I think that's the name of the song. That's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Record. It's a great track. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do listen to that particular track. I haven't listened to it for a while, but I heard that the day that my car slid off the road in wintry New England.
Nothing else to do but listen to the radio while you're waiting on the tow truck.
Cameron Winter's heavy metal. Very good. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. All right. My choice is going to be way, way different than that. My third choice is Hollandozier Holland. It's difficult to say who wrote what in this collaboration between these 3 guys, but clearly I don't know who was the main songwriter. Surely it was probably somebody who came up with the bulk of this stuff, but they all contributed in their own way, and they are legendary. So many great songs. One of my personal favorites, Reflections by the Supremes. One of my absolute favorite songs. Truly is a great song. This Old Heart of Mine, Isley Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Great song.
How Sweet It Is. One of my favorite songs of all time. These guys are so incredibly important to Motown. It just cannot be overstated. Super prolific. Super consistent. Mike and I, in particular, are huge R&B, I would say Motown fans. That style is just super important to me.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't hear you talking about it as much.
Yeah.
But it is something that I listen to regularly, and I like it as much as anything I've ever listened to. It has to have some sophistication, which those guys had a little bit of sophistication.
Speaking of consistency, I mean, to have that, to be able to write that many great songs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
they deserve to be. They are one of my favorite songwriting teams.
Yeah.
Hard to say songwriter. I don't know who wrote what, but they all are part of the same team. So I had to include all 3, of course. So that's my third choice.
That's a great choice. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go. This is 4th. I'm going to go with a gentleman I've mentioned before, another Texas gentleman, Ryan Bingham. Mentioned him before. He's more Americana than country. A lot of people have said he's a country artist, but it's really more that Americana type sound. But the first time I discovered him, there was an old TV show that only lasted 2 seasons. Great TV show called The Bridge, and it was set in Texas / Mexico, and he wrote the theme song, or they used one of his songs for the theme song. And I was just checking the TV show out because it looked interesting. And when the titles came up and the music came, I was more immediately struck by the music. They had cool visuals and everything, but I was like, what is this music? This is amazing. And it is just haunting. It's ethereal. It makes you want to just find out. Like it immediately elicits a feeling, and there's hardly any lyrics. So you would like it, Jamey. But it's all guitars and swells, and it's just it's a short song again. And because I thought maybe there would be a longer, they used a snippet of it for the show. And then when I found it, I was like, oh, it's fairly short. But that pulled me in. And
was that written for the show?
I'm not sure. It's not on any album, so it makes me think it might have been a piece of music he was messing with, and someone who knew him, because he's done some acting as well. So he probably knows a lot of people, you know, and they might have just heard him picking on and said, hey, what is that? And said, this might be perfect for this. You just never know who's listening, you know?
Yeah.
But, and every album he's got 6 or 7 albums now. Just great albums, great storyteller, great guitar player. Another one that could sit on a bench and play his songs and you would be into it, you know? And his other song, that for this example is called Hallelujah from the Junkie Star album. It just tells an amazing story. Not what you think at all by the title Hallelujah, which I love that when songwriters pull you in, like this Cameron dude with his heavy metal. I wrote a song a long time ago called Big Heavy Metal Song, and it's not heavy metal at all, but it just fit the music, you know?
Right.
But yeah, this song has nothing to do with what you normally think Hallelujah would be, but it tells a great story, and just the feeling in the voice, it just, you know, like Neil Young singing or Otis Redding singing, it just does something to you, you know?
Right.
But yeah, anyway, Ryan is such a great songwriter.
Yeah, it sounds like he's one of those guys that whenever he sings, you feel like he is talking to you.
Yeah.
And that's a talent. You know?
During COVID, when we had the lockdowns and everything, he would get on Instagram every day and play and sing like for 20 minutes just because, you know, nothing's going on.
His name's vaguely familiar to me, but I can't place it. I don't know if I'm thinking of someone else, but yeah, it's vaguely familiar. Well, that's cool. Well, yeah. I'll have to look into that.
I know you've mentioned him before, and when you did, I wrote his name down and never listened to him. So
you wrote it down again?
I wrote it down again.
And never look it up again.
And,
all right.
As long as this paper doesn't disappear tonight, I'll check him out. Still with the new artist, this is someone I discovered by accident, I believe. I can't remember how I learned her name. Nicole Dollanganger, from Canada.
I have checked her out.
Yeah. It's so, I don't want to say odd, but it's kind of dream pop. It's kind of, you know, it's that spacey kind of dance music, but her lyrics are very personal. It seems like all her songs deal with either violence or sexual violence. It's kind of romantic, gothic. There's something about it. She has this tiny voice, and it just makes you lean in and listen. And the lyrics are it really tells a story. It's very personal, and it's like there's these descriptions of things, but you have to figure out what it is that she's actually talking about. And it's very intriguing. She has 5 albums. Her first album in 2012 from no, her first album was before that, but Flowers of Flesh and Blood I really like, up until the most recent one was 2 years ago, Married in Mount Airy. Her songs like Rabid and Phantom Pains, Gold Satin Dreamer, they're just beautiful songs, and I wish I could put my thumb on what it is that draws me in, but there's something in there, and I really suggest giving her a listen. Nicole Dollanganger, young Canadian singer-songwriter. She's very impressive, very talented.
Yeah,
I really like her stuff a lot.
Yeah, I've long past tried to define why I like something anymore. If you know, when you hear something, you're like,
doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I get what you're saying though. You're like, why am I listening? Why, you know, I get it with some things, but
this is normally the kind of thing I would put on and maybe it's background music. Yeah. You know, but something about her voice, the way she delivers it, and then the words, when you hear the words, it's like, wow, this is heavy. Right. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So a lot of food for thought in that.
Okay. Boy, this next choice is going to be difficult because I know what my 5th and final choice is going to be. So this is heart-wrenching. I'm going to mention some names that we didn't have room to mention, but
you can do it.
I mean, any of these are incredible. Man, I'm going to go with the Bee Gees. Barry Gibb, Morris Gibb, and Robin Gibb. So many incredible songs.
I expected to hear that name tonight.
Those guys, people can say whatever about their catalog. I'm a huge fan. Those guys wrote all of those great songs. And boy, talking about consistency.
Yeah.
There for 10 years. Unstoppable. And just incredible amount of great songs. I mean, if you just take the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, whether you like disco or not, those are great songs. All the other great songs they wrote for other artists.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Tons of people don't even realize they wrote it, you know?
Tons. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's difficult to leave them out because they mean a lot to me. I mean, not only I think the lyrics work well with those songs, but I read something not long ago or heard it that Barry Gibb, who's was probably the primary writer, but they all contributed immensely. But he said that his whole thing was that they wrote to write a great song, they would write 5 choruses and they would edit it together because they wanted every song to sound like a hit.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting to think about. They weren't really thinking, they just wanted to write the best possible songs they could, and they did.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he played an open string guitar. He couldn't play traditional guitar. His harmonic sense in his head was so sophisticated.
Yeah.
Incredible, you know, to me. It means a great deal to me. I just can't imagine not having his catalog around.
What tuning did he play in?
That I don't know. I don't know if it was open G or open E. I do not know. But yeah, if you look at the Spirits Having Flown tour,
yeah,
among others, but when Andy Gibb came on stage with him, this was probably 79. Yeah, you can see him playing guitar. You could tell it's clearly he's playing open string guitar.
I always wonder about open string players if when they learn guitar, if it was just easier. If
he had nobody to teach him. I mean, he had to just pick it up back then. He had to pick it up from nobody. He had to trust his instincts. I'm sure that's what happened. He had nobody to say, you don't know, just tune your guitar. He tuned it to where it sounded good to him. He's got incredible ears. I'm sure that he just figured it out. He just had to figure out, well, I'll put my fingers here. There's a minor chord. If I put my finger here, this is a 7th chord. He had to just figure it out. There was nobody to guide him. So that's its own, you know, curiosity to me, but it worked. His musical instincts was just tremendous. So very difficult to make that choice.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
Cannot leave the 5th and final choice. It has to be included for me. But yeah, it hurts me to leave some of the names off that we have. It just is very difficult. They all mean a great deal to me.
We got one more, so make your mind up.
Well, I know what I'm getting. I know what the final choice will be.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, my final choice is another new artist, not new, but new to me. I think he has 3 or 4 albums. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
His name is Tamino. He goes by Tamino. I believe his last name is Habibi. I've not done a lot of research on him. And again, I heard an interview and they played snippets of songs on when I was driving. I'm always driving somewhere and had NPR on. And I'm like, whoa, what is this music? What is this? Very interesting guitar playing, very interesting arranging, and very interesting vocals where not every track has the same even type of vocal. You know, he changes his voice to suit what he thinks it should be. And that to me is very interesting, you know, because not a lot of singers do that. To where you could hear 2 songs and go, is this the same person? But anyway, 2 of the standout songs are Raven and Elegy off his latest album. And it's just, again, you hear it and like, wow, I'm going to listen to this forever. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be in my rotation, in my playlist from now on, you know, where I have that feeling or whatever. Oh, I'm going to listen to that. You know, that's going to be perfect to listen to if I feel like this, or if I want to feel like this, pull you in, you know?
So would you say that you said that he kind of has such a varied style that it's like really different from one song to the next?
Well, one song, just an example, not these 2 songs, but one song he'll have a more deeper not quite a baritone, but between that and a tenor. And then another song, when he starts singing, you swear it's Tom York, and I'm like, wow.
But stylistically, it's not that different.
No, not super.
Oh,
He's not jumping genres or anything, but just like if you put on, and not insulting anyone, because everybody's got their own voice and that's their voice and they can't help it. But if you put on a certain album by someone, how they're going to sound or how their voice is going to sound, other than if they are singing higher or lower, it's still going to sound like they sound,
Right.
And it could be just be also because I'm new to him. He may do that quite often. I've only listened to a couple of his albums, but it's just such a change from one song to another. In some of the songs, it's just like it's unique and it's really interesting, instead of like if you listen to, no insult because I love Depeche Mode, but Dave Gahan sings a certain way all the time, and that's not an insult. I love you, Dave, but this is, he really changes it up to where you're almost like, is this a different singer? Especially being unfamiliar with the wait a minute, let me see, is this a guest star singing or someone collaborating or whatever? But it's really interesting music, and again, the guitar playing is so unique. It's not just strummed chords. It's just different. But
okay. And you feel like this is an artist that you were going to be with for a long time.
Yeah, immediately I heard one of the songs and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It just draws you in.
Right.
And part of that could be you don't hear that a lot anymore. And again, we mentioned that before about, I hope this is the dawn of a new age of great songwriters,
Right.
But it's just music now. It's in my, like I said, it's forever in my playlist and my rotation.
That's cool. That's awesome. All right.
Well, goodness. The more I look at my list, the more I want to talk about these other people. But I'm going to talk about the Decemberists, a group that's very divisive. And when I say that, I mean I love them and my wife does not. So they don't, not allowed to play them in the car when we go together. But Colin Malloy writes all the songs for the Decemberists. And I can see his voice is a little unusual. May not be everyone's cup of tea. They have so many different types of songs. Listening to it immediately, superficially, you might think this all sounds alike, but it's anything from sea shanties to almost techno music. It's very folky, very Americana, but there's something stand out. And his lyrics are very colorful. He's always telling a story. Some of the things he says in different songs may raise an eyebrow,
right?
But it's just so creative and original, and the consistency of so many of their songs, and they're so different. From Down by the Water, Sons and Daughters is a favorite of mine. Sucker's Prayer, Severed is very different from the others I mentioned. Don't Carry It All is a great sing along. He just writes so many different types of songs, and they still fit into that Decemberist feel.
Right.
Like I said, that folky Americana kind of thing. But there's something more to it, and it's a lot of fun. And I think it's very creative that he can write so many different styles within the style that he does.
Yeah.
So the Decemberists are pretty popular, but Malloy is really creative in his songwriting.
Cool. Yeah, I have a few things by them. I don't really listen to them on any regularity, but I'll have to revisit that. I do have a couple tracks that I enjoyed back in the day.
I think you'll see they're like number 3 on my end of year Spotify, and they'll probably be there this year too.
Okay, well, my 5th and final choice.
It's all up to you.
It's Donald Fagen and Walter Becker.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Such an incredible body of work. It just means a lot to me. I guess you either like Steely Dan or you don't, but I love them.
That's the consensus I've discovered in my life, that people either like them or they hate them.
Well, I think that, again, we can't get into each other's brain to see to hear how we hear music. there's a sophistication. They are pop songs with jazz complexity.
Yeah.
But the arrangements, the performances, to me, it's incredible. I think I can be objective about it. I have always liked what Steely Dan did. Ever since I can remember enjoying music, really
Yeah.
paying attention.
Not this week, but just last week, I listened to Asia and Gaucho in their entirities. You know,
fantastic records. I mean, I just love everything they did. I mean, Donald Fagen really was the musical mastermind. Walter Becker did contribute a lot. He was a great bass player and did some cool stuff with the band, and he contributed in his own way. But I just can't not have them included. It's just too important to me. I think that Royal Scam was the second CD that I ever purchased. I want to say Sgt. Pepper's was the first. That was my first two choices. I wanted to have that experience with, whenever that was. And it's just very important records to me. So that's my final choice. You don't like Steely Dan, we're not friends.
You can't come in if you don't like Steely Dan.
Yeah. I love them.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think most musicians, I don't know. Well, do I know any musicians that do
I hate to think that it's about that, though. I really wished that I hope it's not that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that I'm guilty of that. I really don't. I think because I appreciate so many songs that I don't think that a musician has to appreciate, but I appreciate them.
Yeah.
In a way that it's not about the musicianship. I don't think about this is.
Well, I liked them before I played drums. So before I learned guitar, anything like that,
I liked them before. I liked them
before,
right. I liked them way before. Well, not way, but before I started playing. But I
Yeah.
didn't even think about them for years.
Yeah.
But I can remember hearing "Time Out of Mind" and Hey 19, and not really knowing who they were. I was still so young when that came out, or that Gaucho came out. But I remember singing along to Deacon Blues when it was current, and memorizing the words, which is unusual for me, but it was so catchy.
Yeah.
Just the arrangements are just incredible. Everything about Steely Dan, I just really don't want to think that it's because I'm a musician that I like them so much. I hope it's not that, because to me, I don't want it to be that way. I just think that they deserve all the credit that they deserve.
Yeah.
And the people who don't like them, I just don't. I think it has to do with they don't hear harmony like I hear harmony.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Or it's got a sophistication, and a lot of people aren't entertained by sophistication.
But I don't want to be snobby about it. To me, that would bother me if I felt like it was, because there are artists that I think are kind of in that mold that I enjoy, that I think I realize that I like them, that most people might not. But Steely Dan, I defend them completely.
Yeah.
I don't think that they deserve to be thought of that way. Those are great songs.
Oh yeah, like I said, I'm sure that, I mean, they used, I mean, when they were touring, they sold, plenty of tickets. So I'm sure plenty of people liked them that weren't musicians,
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
For now.
I'm going to talk about, I do want to mention a few people who you guys feel welcome to jump in here. I just have to mention a few that it hurts me to not have mentioned, but we just couldn't. But Miles Davis, incredibly important to me. Paul McCartney.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through the list and then we can kind of comment on it. Pete Townsend. Love him. So many incredible songs. I wish that we could have talked about him. Billy Joel, one of the best songwriters that wrote everything. Yeah. He's one of those guys that wrote everything. Brian Wilson, incredible. Elton John and Bernie Taupin, just incredible. I mean, those two guys, I can't imagine how many songs. I just can't imagine those songs not being in my life, being able to hear them. I love Elton John and Bernie Taupin's work. It's just so ridiculously good. Benny Anderson and Bjorn Ulvaeus of ABBA, incredible songwriters. Whatever you think of ABBA, does not matter. Those guys were prolific and wrote great songs. And those songs have lived for the last 45 or 50 years. They're great. Jeff Lynne of ELO, such a tremendous, tremendous artist and writer. I love him. Rick Ocasek of the Cars. Ridiculous amount of great songs. A really, really great songwriter. Sting. Ridiculously prolific and ridiculously good. Such a great artist. Jackson Browne. I personally love Jackson Browne. He's probably one of those people that is divisive for people. To me, he's one of the few artists that I really appreciate his lyrics, and I don't know why that is. His lyrics, actually, I do pay attention to. I don't know why. I love his songs, and his songs have meant a lot to me lyrically, but musically, I think he has just enough sophistication that it just resonates with me.
Yeah.
Bob Seger. I love Bob Seger's work. Incredible. Don Henley and Glenn Frey. Ridiculously body of work. Those guys wrote so many great songs. It's crazy. Joni Mitchell. Fantastic artist. She deserves everything she's ever gotten in terms of accolades. And James Taylor. What a tremendous artist. I love all these people, and I wish that I could have mentioned them all. Any that you guys want to throw out there?
Oh man, plenty on the list.
Yeah, good grief. Dylan, Prince, Peter Gabriel.
Dylan.
I mean, like I said, it's just listen to classic radio or stream classic radio, and you're going to hear, people we even forgot to mention. Obviously,
there's those that are popular, but you worry about them being forgotten. Wilson Pickett, Dolly Parton,
Willie Nelson,
even
Chris Christopherson. Wow,
Chris Christopherson, even Woody Guthrie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, would Bob Dylan be around without Woody Guthrie?
Doubtful.
I'm going to mention some on my list because I don't have a long list. Austin Lucas, who's now Abigail Austin, great punk country artist. I've mentioned them before.
Punktree.
Yeah, but Alone in Memphis, Somebody Loves You, Go West. So many great songs on their first album. There's something plaintive, something desperate to get out in what they write, and I love it. Townes Van Zandt. Probably an influence on a lot. I love it.
Oh yeah, I was
Townes Van Zandt was
influence.
Tremendous. There's something very personal in everything he writes. Very simplistic stuff, but just the way it's delivered and the way the songs are.
John Prine.
John Prine.
I was going to say that was my JP that I was alluding to earlier.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, I'm sure that he influenced. Sure,
like I mentioned, Dolly Parton wrote really personal songs on all kinds of subjects. So her and Loretta Lynn, just tremendous, talented artist. So
Dolly Parton, it's interesting. Dolly Parton is one of those people that I think in some ways is not taken seriously because of her image, but she is the real deal.
Oh,
she's not only smart as a whip, and she knows what she's doing. She is talented, but she seems like such a great, nice person.
Yeah.
And that's just awesome. I mean, she's just awesome. She's so good.
She has all that talent and has written those incredible songs, all of them, and doesn't take herself too seriously.
I know. She has she's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm sure there's so many we've forgotten to mention or not been able to mention. Boys and girls, put a comment down below. Who's your favorite?
This was hard, folks.
Tell us why it is Otis Redding.
Yeah, I hope you appreciate our efforts because this was difficult. But we will see you guys this week with a new episode. Thanks so much for checking in with us. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Take care.
All right. Be well.
One of these days, I'm going to say "be well" before you get it out.